dramatic night last night in Toronto. Kevin Durant was cleared to play before the game. The rumors were that he was playing, and he warmed up, and he danced in the hallway. And when he took the court, he was on fire. He hit his first 3 threes, had 11 points in the game, and looked to be all the way back. And then the nightmare happened. Driving to the hole on Serge Ibaka, he was injured. And eventually, he would walk off the floor and go into the back. And it's bad. It is an Achilles injury. They expect it to be a tear of his Achilles. Jalen Rose, we will talk about this almost the entire show today. But my first question for you is, how does this moment change the NBA Finals moving forward?
Well, it changes it dramatically. I was a person coming into this series, had KD been healthy, I would have picked the Warriors in 5. With KD injured, I said Raptors in 7. It looks like that's where we're heading. You hate to see anyone get injured, especially somebody the magnitude of somebody like Kevin Durant on a stage like this, but I must state the obvious, and this is coming from the heart. As fans, as media, as supporters of the game, congratulations, you got your pound of flesh. This idea that Kevin Durant is just as good as other NBA players at 75%. Yeah, when he's catching and shooting 3 threes, but soon as it's time to penetrate and make a play off the dribble, he re-injures himself. I go on Countdown Friday night, and I specifically said Kevin Durant's workout did not go well for anybody involved, and that he basically punted on the workout. For anybody that follows football, I don't know if people really understood what I was saying. On 3rd down and 3, if you punt the ball, it's a surrender that you're gonna get a chance to play another down, and you want your defense to now get a stop and get the offense back the ball, okay? He was not ready to go. And if you're not ready to go on Friday with a strained calf that's kept you out for 30 days, that obviously affects your Achilles, because anybody that saw him with ice clearly seen that he had it on his calf and he had it on his Achilles. You're not all of a sudden gonna be ready to play against Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors in an NBA Finals game. And Oskino and Sparks said it best. People will bring flowers to your funeral, but never soup when you're sick. And I can't front. I was standing on the stage at the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy graduation and thinking, the time and energy it takes to earn the respect and the trust of these families and students and members of our staff, to now have a collection of people that have worked so very hard and sacrificed themselves, that we've not only graduated students from high school, but we've graduated students from college. We had one media outlet there to talk about it. But if something tragic happens to me, oh man, it'll be cameras at the school forever. So as an athlete and as a public figure, we don't cry for sympathy. People think because you have fame, because you have money, all you gotta do is get out there and perform. We just wanna see you do what you do until something happens. So for everybody, save the fake crocodile tears for Kevin Durant. Because if the Golden State Warriors were up 3-1 and they won without him, people will be saying what they said in the Portland series. See, I told you they were better without him. Look how much the offense is moving without him. The ball is moving. They look so much better. But no, he caved to public consumption. Kawhi didn't cave. When he got misdiagnosed by the Spurs, he played 9 games. And whether it was Pop, whether it was Tony Parker, whether it was the media saying he should play, he trusted his body. And he waited, got traded, and now he's shining in the NBA Finals. But Kevin Durant, who we see, hears the criticism because he's in the comments. And we understood that the Warriors probably would not be his team. That's why we all anticipate that he's going to leave to prove something to us. So now all of a sudden he plays, indirectly it's like he was bullied to play. He gets out there and tries to perform on the biggest stage when his team is facing elimination, and he gets hurt again. And if he tore his Achilles, it's going to cost him 12 months of his NBA career.
So I'm glad you went there because I want to talk to you about that decision to play. Bob Myers came out and he said that there was multiple doctors involved. The whole medical staff cleared him to play. He worked out. It didn't go well, as you said. You know, how much of this was the public persona and the public saying that the Warriors are better without KD. Should Kevin Durant have played?
No, no, no. I came through the door. I said it before. No. If they were up 3-1, David Jacoby, do you think he would have played?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so they were facing elimination. He hears the chatter. He comes out and feels like, I'm going to shut everybody up. And he makes a couple of catch-and-shoot threes, and then I have people trying to even assassinate my character. Oh, Jalen said the workout didn't go well. He didn't know what he was talking about. Then all of a sudden, he tries to do a move off the dribble and re-injures himself. And then now all of a sudden, everybody want to fake and act like that they care when he was never ready to go.
So, Jalen, the president of basketball operations for the Warriors, Bob Myers, was the person with him the second he left the floor and walked him out of the arena when he left the arena. Afterwards, he faced the press, and here's what an emotional Bob Myers had to say.
Prior to coming back, he went through 4 weeks with our medical team, and it was thorough, and it was experts and multiple MRIs and multiple doctors, and we felt the process. He was cleared to play tonight. That was a collaborative decision. I don't believe there's anybody to blame, but I understand this world. And if you have to, you can blame me. I run our basketball operations department.
Jalen, what do you think about Mr. Myers' comments?
I think that if you're looking for somebody to blame, it's a collective. The Golden State Warriors wanted to win a series, and their best player seems like he's ready to go. The best player feels like he's willing to go. They look at one another and say, let's try this. So I'm not putting more blame on the Warriors or KD or any way, shape, or form. What I am saying is this. He missed over 30 days because of a strained calf that clearly affected his Achilles. You don't all of a sudden not be able to do a workout on Thursday and then be able to play at an elite level on Monday after sitting out multiple weeks. It just doesn't work like that. He came back because they were facing elimination, and he caved to public pressure that athletes hear. The chatter, you're weak, you're soft, you're not competitive. Oh, the players from back in the day, they would have found a way to get out there and perform. And yes, that has happened. But however, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's smart.
Well, it did happen, and the nightmare happened for Kevin Durant. He now is hurt. So there's implications beyond the last two games of this NBA Finals. There's implications on his career. As we all know, he has an option to opt out of his current deal with the Warriors. He also has an option to opt in, a player option for about $31.5 million. He could stay with the Warriors, sign a 5-year deal for $221 million, or he could go elsewhere and potentially get a 4-year, $164 million deal. Those are 3 different paths that he could take this summer. What do you think is the best decision for Kevin Durant?
I always felt like the best decision for Kevin Durant is to stay with the Golden State Warriors. He's the reigning back-to-back finals MVP. The reason why I believe and so many thought that he would leave at the end of this season was for validation. The reason a lot of people felt like he came back yesterday was for validation, to show the world that he can lift the Warriors from a 3-1 deficit and win the championship and become the hero that we all love when we watch the drama that plays out that is called sports. But it did not take place that way. I always felt like running with the Splash Brothers in that situation was the best thing for his future. After how his teammates responded, after how Bob Myers responded, I think now having that love, having that bond, getting injured on that big stage will really affect his decision-making to the point where I hope now he decides not only to stay, but to stay long-term.
I agree. Do you think that he will receive those type of offers, that he will receive the maximum that other teams can give him, and he will receive a 5-year max offer from the Warriors?
He's going to get the money regardless. The other 29 teams would clear cap space in a heartbeat to add Kevin Durant. The Golden State Warriors would go into the luxury tax without a problem if it was to retain Kevin Durant. So I don't see finance being the issue. It's just a matter of commitment. And I anticipated he was going to leave at the end of this year. I don't think that somebody on crutches coming off an Achilles tear should sign a 1-year deal when he's in his 30s and then try to look up and go somewhere else. I think this hopefully now lends to him signing a 5-year deal with the Warriors.
I agree. One of the first things that went through my mind after I sort of digested the injury and the impact of it and the fact that he wouldn't come back was, oh, wait a second. I think this means that he stays with Golden State. Like, I can see him staying with Golden State for years and years. They'll go to luxury tax. They'll pay Clay. They'll pay Draymond. They will keep this core together. And in a weird way, I think that this tragedy, this nightmare, could actually help the Golden State dynasty moving forward. We will move forward with this program. There's so much more to break down from Game 5. We haven't even talked about the finish, the shots from Clay, from Steph, the stop from Draymond. We'll break all that down right after this.
Have an MRI on his injured Achilles. League sources telling Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne that the Warriors believe the MRI will confirm a torn right Achilles tendon. Questions about whether he should have played in Game 5 on a strained calf continue as Warriors president Bob Myers took responsibility last night. A handful of notable players have suffered a torn Achilles in recent years, including KD's current teammate DeMarcus Cousins. Their average return time has been about 9 months, though that can certainly vary from player to player. If there's any player Durant should turn to, it would be Dominique Wilkins, who talked to Cousins after his injury. Neek averaged nearly 30 points per game the following season after tearing his Achilles, and Neek sent out a great tweet earlier today just saying if anybody can come back stronger, it would be Kevin Durant. Great to have Woj here with us. What is the latest in the test being done on this Achilles for KD? Well, Kevin Durant left Toronto, flew to New York, where he's undergoing that MRI to essentially confirm what I think the organization and the attending physicians at the game last night believe, that he has torn his Achilles tendon. They've got to see the severity of this injury and then start him down the path of probably surgery and then a long rehab process. Yeah, well, we'll see how this plays out as the injury now brings into deeper focus the options KD has this offseason. Now, he could opt in for $31.5 million for the final year of the deal he signed with the Warriors. That deadline is June 29th. The Warriors could give him $221 million over 5 years. He can get as much as $164 million over 4 years from another team if he becomes a free agent. And that Achilles injury is not insurable, meaning whoever signs him would not get any cap relief if he's out next year. Now, on Get Up this morning, our NBA insider Bobby Marks was asked if teams would consider giving KD the max after last night's devastating injury.
Talked to 3 teams, and I didn't even get the question out, Greeny. I said, if Kevin Durant was if you had cap space, would you go out and sign Kevin Durant, knowing that he will likely be out maybe the whole year? And the resounding answer was yes.
Wow. With what Bobby just said, when you look at the impact of this injury and the rest of free agency, as well as the trade market of Anthony Davis, what are you hearing? Well, I think especially with KD, each team's going to judge that differently. There's no question there would still be max deals out. You'd essentially be paying almost $40 million for a red shirt next year. The player in free agency that I think this injury impacts the most is Kyrie Irving, because the thought had been and the conversation had been either Brooklyn or New York is a package deal. Both teams had two max salary slots to sign both of them. But will either the Knicks or the Nets want to take Kyrie Irving as a solo act? I think both organizations saw this ultimately as him bringing Durant or another big wing with him. I think
it will be more dicey for Kyrie in free agency with KD essentially, being out next season and teams having to judge this differently.
Did it change anything for the Pelicans now as we're 9 days away from the draft with Anthony Davis?
They would like to get a deal done before, well before next Thursday's draft. New Orleans is engaged with several teams right now. The Lakers remain aggressive in here to try to get a deal done.
Woj, thank you so much. Don't forget to catch Woj along with Jay Williams tonight, 8 p.m. on ESPN2 for our